6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Romesh Piris and read by Mario Vijayavardhana. The headlines. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa expresses his deepest condolences on the demise of Baddegama Samitha. The Premier issues directives to avoid inconvenience to the public at vaccination programs. The Gampaha district records the highest number of coronavirus cases. A hotline to lodge complaints on the distribution of the COVID-19 allowance by the government. The Ministry of Education issues the Grade 1 application for the year 2022. Economic centres open 10 million kilos of vegetables and fruits reach Dambulla. In international news, France's President Emmanuel Macron threatens to withdraw French troops from Mali. In sports, football, the national football team to leave for Korea tomorrow. Former parliamentarian and former Southern Provincial Councillor Venerable Baddegama Samitha passed away due to COVID-19 at a private hospital in Mathura. He was 69 at the time of his demise. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa expressed his condolences and remembers Thera's contribution to the politics of this country and the great assistance extended to him personally by the late Thero. Venerable Baddegama Samitha was a member of the Parliament for the Gala district from 2001 to 2004. He currently represented the Southern Provincial Council under the United People's Freedom Alliance. Venerable Samitha was the first ever Buddhist monk to enter the Parliament of Sri Lanka. The final rites of the Thero took place at the Baddegama crematorium according to the health guidelines issued by the Ministry of Health. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has issued directives to ensure the public is not inconvenienced during the implementation of the COVID-19 vaccination program. Speaking during an observational tour of the vaccination drive in the Mathura district, the Premier said vaccinations must be carried out continuously. Premier Rajapaksa visited the vaccination centre at the Mahinda Rajapaksa College in Ballamadama, Mathura this morning. The office of the Prime Minister said state officials, sanitary workers at local government institutions and non-essential medical workers were administered the vaccine at the vaccination centre. The Gampaha district recorded the highest number of coronavirus cases yesterday with 541. A majority of the cases were from Nitambua and Kottanayaka. 2,882 COVID-19 cases were identified in Sri Lanka as of yesterday, increasing the country's caseload to 180,593. The Colombo district came in second with 442 cases, including 163 from the Colombo Municipal Council area and 55 from Kotahena. Meanwhile, the Director General of Health Services confirmed 42 deaths due to COVID-19 yesterday, raising the total to 1,405. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Ministry of Education has issued applications and instructions for the admission of students to Grade 1 for the year 2022. Individuals seeking to apply can visit the website www.moe.gov.lk and obtain the application and instructions on how to proceed further. Once again, individuals seeking to apply can visit the website www.moe.gov.lk and obtain the application and instructions on how to proceed further. The ministry issuing a statement said the completed applications must be submitted to the heads of schools via registered post before the 30th of June. Economic centres were reopened this morning and the farmers and traders were seen visiting some of the economic centres. The Dambulla Economic Centre received about 10 million kilos of vegetables and fruits today. The wholesale price of a kilo of most low-country vegetables were around 150 rupees. Meanwhile, farmers at the Ambilipitia Economic Centre are facing concerns in selling their produce despite the centre being open for wholesale trade from morning. They claim perishable goods such as vegetables and fruits have decreased in value and instead called for the government to intervene and impose a maximum retail price. The Cabinet spokesman, Minister Kehele Rabukwala, says the Technical Committee of the Ministry of Health is holding discussions pertaining to the need to administer the second dose of the vaccine to persons who received the first dose under the COVID-19 vaccination program. The COVID-19 vaccination program commenced in the Kandy district today, centered around the Kundasale Divisional Secretariat. Speaking during an observational tour of the program, Minister Rabukwala said the need to administer the second dose is being discussed as the first jab alone strengthens one's immune system. The minister noted, based on the information he has received, the Sputnik V vaccine dose is valid for 6 months. He added, another program is underway to manufacture single-dose Sputnik Light vaccine. The police spokesman, DIG Ajit Rohana, states that during a 24-hour period ending yesterday, the police have arrested 914 persons for failing to adhere to health guidelines and quarantine regulations. He said that this was the highest number of arrests within a single day related to quarantine law violations. The Sri Lankan Navy has thwarted attempts by 40 individuals on board 4 Indian fishing vessels from entering Sri Lankan waters illegally. The Navy is engaged in 24-hour patrols at sea due to the risk of the transmission of COVID-19 cases due to attempts by foreign groups arriving in the island via sea routes. The Navy in the seas off the north of Mannar intercepted 4 Indian vessels with 40 individuals on board. The group of individuals who attempted to enter Lankan waters was directed to their home waters. A special police team will be deployed to record statements from the crew members, including the captain of the MV Express Pearl, tomorrow in connection with the complaint lodged by the Marine Environment Protection Authority over the environmental damage caused by the fire that erupted in the vessel. The police spokesman, DIG Ajit Rohana, said that the MEPA had lodged a complaint with the Colombo Harbour Police on May 23rd to take legal action against the captain of the Express Pearl ship, which caught fire near the Colombo Harbour and its parent company. Accordingly, the Harbour Police has initiated an investigation and facts have been reported to the Colombo Magistrates Court. That's local news.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
State Minister Shehan Semasinga says a special hotline is introduced to lodge complaints with regard to the distribution of the 5,000 rupee allowance by the government due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Accordingly, the number 1965 was opened for the benefit of the recipients. The State Minister further said that the grant will be distributed to 4 identified groups. Minister Semasinga also mentioned that the grant will also be extended to the fisher folk who have been affected recently due to the fire on board the Express Pearl vessel.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
And now in Watchlight, a special hotline has been introduced to lodge complaints if mobile vendors don't visit areas in the Colombo district or if vendors fail to adhere to the health guidelines. The Colombo district secretary Pradeep Yasaratna said complaints can be lodged via 0112 369 139. Once again, a special hotline has been introduced to lodge complaints if mobile vendors don't visit areas in the Colombo district or if vendors fail to adhere to the health guidelines. The The Colombo District Secretary Pradeep Yasaratna said complaints can be lodged via 0112 369 139. 8,895 mobile vendors have been registered at present in the Colombo district to distribute essential commodities. The district secretary added that registration licenses have been issued to mobile vendors covering all 13 divisional secretariats. That came to you in Watchlight, and now in world news headlines. France's President Emmanuel Macron threatens to withdraw French troops from Mali. The Colombian army tightens its control over the city of Cali. China's cargo spacecraft docks with space station module. French President Emmanuel Macron has warned that France would withdraw troops from Mali if political instability there leads to greater Islamist radicalization. It follows a second coup in 9 months in the West African nation. Mr. Macron warned of the risk of Mali moving towards Islamist influence. France has 5,100 troops in the Sahel region, which has been a front line in the war against Islamist militancy. French troops have been supporting forces in Mali, Mauritania, Niger, Burkina Faso and Chad to battle militants in the Sahel region since 2013. The Colombian army has begun to tighten its control over the city of Cali following weeks of deadly anti-government protests there. Streets are reported to be largely deserted after President Ivan Duque ordered the military intervention. At least 5 people died in Cali on Friday night, the latest casualties in a month of protests which have claimed dozens of lives. The protests began in April over a proposed tax increase. The tax plan was withdrawn, but the protests grew to cover police violence, poverty, and Colombia's health crisis. China's cargo spacecraft carrying supplies, equipment, and propellant docked with the space station's key module Tianhe today. The Tianzhou-2, or Heavenly Vessel in Chinese, autonomously rendezvoused and docked with Tianhe earlier this morning, Beijing time. The China Manned Space Engineering Office said it blasted off via a Long March 7Y3 rocket yesterday from the Wenchang Space Launch Center on the southern island of Hainan. Tianzhou-2 is the second in a series of missions needed to complete China's first self-developed space station in 2022 and follows the launch of Tianhe, the first module in late April. And now the main points of the world news segment once again. France's President Emmanuel Macron threatens to withdraw French troops from Mali. The Colombian army tightens its control over the city of Cali. China's cargo spacecraft docks with space station module. That was world news. And now in development news, the Hambantota International Port will partner with Intertech Lanka Private Limited to establish a state-of-the-art petroleum testing laboratory which will be unique to Sri Lanka. Through this facility, Intertech will provide innovative and bespoke assurance, testing, inspection and certification services. In a virtual ceremony held this week, HIPG and Intertech Lanka Private Limited signed an agreement for a 10-year partnership which provides Intertech the opportunity to establish its services in the port. The leading global independent inspection service provider will bring all of its global capabilities to ensure the laboratory is classified as a truly international state-of-the-art facility which is capable of testing IMO 2020 global sulfur protocols. That was development news.
Sports News is brought to you by...
When Aya bought a motorbike, he bought 2 helmets. So sweet of him. I'm sure the other one is for me.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others. When we get Munchie Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves. Munchie Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan neve.
The national football team will leave for the Korean Republic tomorrow for the preliminary second-round qualification for the FIFA World Cup 2022. The team captained by Sujan Pereira will encounter Lebanon and Korea in Korea. Sri Lanka will be facing Lebanon on June 5th at 11:30 a.m. and the Republic of Korea on June 9th at 4:30 p.m. Both the matches will be played at the Goyang Stadium in Goyang City. The squad includes 22 players and 11 officials of the Sri Lankan national team.
My wife always sets a full lunch table even if it's just the two of us. She always expects people to drop by, like maybe the army.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others. When we get Munchie Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves. Munchie Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan නෙවෙයි.
Contributory deposit of ₹1,000 from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Savings account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
The ambassador of Sri Lanka to the Sultanate of Oman launched a new brand, Ceylon Cinnamon Tea, at the Almera hypermarket in Muscat, Oman, coinciding with International Tea Day. He also distributed Ceylon Tea dyed face masks, which were recently debuted by Sri Lanka Tea Board among the participants during the launch to mark the occasion of International Tea Day. This is yet another effort by the Embassy of Sri Lanka in Oman to promote new brands of Sri Lankan products into the Omani market.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of ₹1,000 from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Savings account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001. Is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
With a view to meeting the challenges faced by businesses and individuals due to the third wave of COVID-19, Sri Lanka's central bank has requested banks to extend the concessions. Accordingly, banks shall defer the recovery of capital, interest or both of the existing credit facilities of borrowers who are affected on a case-by-case basis during the period up to the 31st of August 2021. Alternatively, licensed banks may restructure the existing credit facilities over a longer period, considering the repayment capacity of the borrower and an acceptable revival plan. The COVID-19 affected businesses and individuals can obtain the full set of concessions through licensed commercial banks and licensed specialized banks. The eligible borrowers may request for concessions on or before the 21st of June 2021.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
The Met Department forecasts several spells of showers in the western, Sabaragamuwa, central and the northwestern provinces and in the Gala and Matara district. Showers or thundershowers will occur at a few places in the Uva province and in the Ampara and the Batikalo districts during the evening or night. The forecast predicts wind speeds can increase up to 40 kilometers per hour at times in the western slopes of the Central Hills and in the northwestern and in the north-central provinces and in the Hambantota and the Trincomalee districts. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize the damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during the thunder showers.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And now the headlines of this news broadcast once again. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa expresses his deepest condolences on the demise of Badigama Samithatero. The Premier issues directives to avoid inconvenience to the public at vaccination programs. The Gampaha district records the highest number of coronavirus cases. A hotline to lodge complaints on the distribution of the COVID-19 allowance by the government. The Ministry of Education issues the Grade 1 application for the year 2022. Economic centres open, 10 million kilos of vegetables and fruits reach Dambulla. In international news, France's President Emmanuel Macron threatens to withdraw French troops from Mali. In sports, football, the national football team to leave for Korea tomorrow.